You've asked for this, and we're here happy to answer. We're digging deeper and deeper into raising teenagers.
Teenage gives us as parents a second chance to reparent where we went wrong, or to form good relationships with our children. Maybe we were so busy when they were they were younger.
And we are broke.
There are so many things they're looking at and they're making decisions, and then for some reason they think you're not as wise. They're like, you're like that outdated version of I don't know what gadget. So there's a way in which they're viewing you.
Gadgets now.
The Bible says that your children will be an arrow, in your hand, not to your heart. So conscious decisions, and this is the time.
The conflict happens with a same-sex parent. It's very rare you find a conflict between mom and son. It's always amicable, they have an understanding. Right. Chemistry is going on within them that is forcing them to measure themselves against you, the authority, against anybody.
Hello and welcome back to Bump Love. This is a fabulous weekend and we can't wait to delve into the topic that we'll be discussing today. We continue our Teens and Tensions series, and you've asked for this, and we're here happy to answer. We're digging deeper and deeper into raising teenagers. And to join me on the show is, welcome back actually, Daniel KANAMARA, who's going to be delving. We're going into another angle of raising teenagers, and so I can't wait for us to dig in. And obviously my usual suspects, Husky, Olivia, Yemera, Sharon O, I know, and Barbara. Welcome to the show. I hope your week went well.
Yep.
It did? Yeah. Anything exciting that happened this week that got you quite excited?
I joined a one-year devotional class for women called The Significant Other. Oh. Yes, that focuses on holistic, by Dr. Lillian.
Yes.
Focuses on growing you, bettering your life holistically. And I think I'm enjoying it.
Oh, nice.
They deal with sleep schedules, food, women of the Bible, giving us examples of women in the Bible. I'm enjoying it.
I love it.
Come on.
Yeah.
I love it.
I started facilitating at what Otto calls it the MOF class. So teenagers from the age of 13 to 18, and seeing them off and walking in as a mother. Of course, I had fears, judgments, everything that a mother would have, and it's been really nice. I've done 2 classes so far, and it's been beautiful to see how they think. Oh yes.
Oh my God.
So I've changed my entire dress code for Sunday. So then no damagings. I shall not mislead them, but I will be relatable. No daras. Yeah, I'm just more toned down, but no. I will, yeah. Trying to be like a cool mom, not your friend, but your friend. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Aish, 2 things for me. We had Jesus Night at church. You would think that it's any other event. You guys, 397 people gave their lives to Christ. Yeah. I was like, you see, there's leading one person to Christ, but I was like, 397. I was like, wow, yes. Wow. I was overwhelmed. And then the second thing that made me so happy, you guys have managed to get, I want you to picture zonal pastors, people take very, very seriously. And I got them to do a chidandali dance on stage. I was
sample us?
No.
Sample us. What's a chidandali dance? Okay, we'll get up. Okay.
Wow, Manuela.
Show us such chidandali dance. I'm serious. Show us chidandali dance.
I said, don't embarrass me.
Okay, we're going to try this.
So you have to speak like, you know that she dance.
Okay.
She dance. So you're going to do for me.
That's the
You're going to just do one. 2 small things. Are you think?
Okay.
You're going to do 1, 2. You turn this side and do that thing we used to do. That was my way.
Some of his salaries are quite barren. So when I'm to tell you what happened is a client calls and says you have helped them get their life on track.
Okay.
And they have seen significant growth. Now for us that's a cherry on our weekend. We're happy. Yeah.
You've made a difference.
Yes.
For we live in purpose.
Yeah.
Now
Right?
you are dancing, she did Not to disturb you,
Health and
397, please.
Yeah,
Please. Health and wholeness. Yeah, I think for me, my biggest highlight and what really happened for me was, and I was sharing with you guys earlier, was when the finance team for Dominate 2025 called me in and goes like, we are past the 1,000 mark of attendees. I was just like, oh, this is getting serious. And please note that this is happening like 5 days before the event, like before that time when us Ugandans, we now we're like, now give me that ticket, now give me that ticket, give me I want.
At the gate.
This was before all of that, and we had gone way past the 1,000 tickets, and for me, I think for me it was just a testament of God, but also how much hunger we have to be better. And so for me, that was it for me. Now we're navigating parenting teenagers, and maybe it would just be nice for us to have a context as to why we're having this conversation. So tell me why you feel talking teenagers as an age group is almost, I don't say more important, but it's becoming more and more important in these times over every other age group, because there's a 0 to 3, there's a 3 to 8, there's a 8 to, but the teenage years, and it's not happened only now. It's like it has always happened that people are always having conversations about teenagers. Why?
Allow me jump in. When you look at the Ugandan demographic in terms of age, it informs why, other than any other country, Uganda should be discussing teenagers.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
We have the youngest population. Over 50% of our population is below 18. Now, the biggest portion of that percentage are teenagers. And whether we want to believe it or not, moving forward, for decades, that's going to be our problem. We're going to stay a very young nation, because as we churn them out into adulthood, they are churning out more.
Oh yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
So our conversation should be about them, and if we don't do much to fix that age group or to help them, we risk having a society that is broken. If you ignore them at this point when they are in their formative years, in the years they're making choices that are going to influence the rest of their lives, we're going to have a broken world, especially as a country. I don't know about the rest, but Uganda in context, if you look at it, we need to be discussing teens, and we need to be doing things that are helping them. I mean, there's so many statements that I've said in there, and I'm just like, wait, isn't that 0 to 3? That sounds like 0 to 3.
Oh, you has that thing.
0 to 3 years in the population strata is like the biggest, but then I also realized that 0 to 3 versus 12 all through to 18, then it makes sense why it is the biggest strata. But if you're taking 3 on 3 year population strata, then the 0 to 3.
So clearly we also are producing like very well.
No, we are.
As a country,
we are still, I mean, I remember that time they said, I remember that time.
We'll go with fertile, but also busy is a thing. But I mean,
no, I think because we came down from 6.5 children per woman to 5.9 children per woman. We're just like, we're still at 6. We're still at 6.
Round off.
We're still at 6, something like that.
I watched a video this week. A child psychologist was speaking, and she said the age between 0 to 3, and then again the teenagers, those are the 2 chances you have as a parent to influence the child, to help the child, to form attachment and give them good mental wellness. And I was like, we always thought it was 0 to 8. If you've missed that mark, you're done. So I think teenage gives us as parents a second chance to reparent where we went wrong, or to form good relationships with our children. Maybe we were so busy when they were in that they were younger.
And you are broke.
high chances.
High
Chances
chances
they were broke at that time.
So now we have a second chance to align, to get it right, but also to build that good relationship with the children.
Makes sense.
And to throw light on what you've just said, 0 to 10, you are just trying to keep them alive. You know? You're putting out fires left, right, and center, jumping from this. Don't do that. It's no. But when they become teenagers, what you're dealing with is you're forming a complete human being. They're becoming independent and having a worldview. That's why we struggle with them most at that time. They're detaching from you. So if you let them go haywire, you are going to wake up and you do not know who you have in the home. You look at your little man and
it's not little.
He's not little anymore. He has a mind of his own.
Like you have a stranger in the house.
I was with the baby recently, and I was speaking to a gentleman, and I said, I can't wait for him to get to maybe 3 years, and we're out of this very delicate stage and baby stage. I think my life will get easier. He said, no, that's the easiest part of a child. You can control where they are, what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they're eating. He said it gets hard. When they're teenagers, when they're older, and they have a mind of their own, you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what plot is coming in their mind, what mischief they're plotting when mommy is not there. He told me, by the way, this is enjoy this one. This is the easiest part.
That's a good way to see.
If I go back to being a teenager, I feel like it's the time when you're going through so many changes. Your body, your mind, even the friends are changing. It's very rare that you keep your childhood friends. Because you're feeling like, now I'm cool. Like, you guys are cool.
Even body separates you. You've got boobs, I've not got, but Sasha has boobs, so now we are friends.
But then also you don't lose my embarrassing necessary
I have
stories.
Hips, you don't have.
So then you start feeling like maybe I'm cooler, maybe I need to be with cooler people. You're making very interesting decisions, and I feel like that stage, I mean, what is my 4-year-old going to talk about? I'm the one forming their mind. I'm like, Mommy, this. I'm like, no, it's like this. I am the dictionary. I am the encyclopedia. I am the one who knows it all. I mean, I'm Wonder Woman. But when they're older, now they're even doing research on their own. They're listening to their friends. They can Google. They have all these things at their exposure.
They have YouTube characters they follow.
It's true.
Like there's so many things they're looking at, and they're making decisions. And then for some reason, they think you're not as wise. They're like, you're like that outdated version of I don't know what gadget. So there's a way in which they're viewing you.
We're gadgets now.
Actually, they're like 2.0 version. Mama doesn't get these things. I mean, my 11-year-old thinks that I don't know how to put restricted mode on YouTube. Like, look. So they're going through so many changes, and they are also trying to figure you out while you're trying to figure them out. You get. So I think that they're making decisions that will affect their life. And the past might not have so much to do with it. They're making decisions like, this girl, I could sleep with this one. Oh my God, I have a child with this one. What am I going to do? And those are things that are affecting their future. I think that's why we freak out when you're like, I'm getting into teens. What do I do? Who do I talk to? Like whether you like it or not as a parent, you freak out. Because I remember even me as a teenager, I'm like, but my parents didn't have this conversation. So I think that age is important because you're changing physically, socially, mentally. There's like a big shift. That's what I feel.
You say that, and I remember about maybe 2 weeks ago, Blake comes into the room and he says, Mommy, thank you. Thank you, you're a good mommy. Now, I've had that a lot before. So what I do is I actually ask them, why do you say that? And then he said, you know, I've been asking you and some people questions, but I feel like you're the one who gives me the most correct answer.
Correct.
So he knows what's right?
I'm like, who told you what's correct and who told you that? Now that you are putting us on a scale. So I go like, okay, who's position number 1 and who's position number last? Because
the last. Who's at number 1?
I like that they say it formative years, and I think I pointed it out earlier. I think for me, even just in hindsight, like look at myself as a teenager, I still have most of my friends that I had as a child. So even when I was such a late bloomer, like even when your friends are evolving, you kind of are like one another's, you are now you're now almost trying to have one another's back. You're very cautious about your decisions. You know, don't treat my friend badly. Why did you say that? That was mean. For us, we like this. Oh no, we are going for fellowship. That skirt looks better on me. Let me also try it. Okay, that blouse, maybe next time I'll get the same. Or I'm going to tell my mom, I'm going to, like we were now at the age where you freely correct one another, but also edify. I feel whether it's edifying. Yeah. You're like, hey, you look good in that. Hey, there's something about, so and so's body. For me, I can't do that hairstyle. My hair is not, like, we were now at a place where you're able. My head is small, me, I can't do this. So you're defining also who you are or who you want to be. So even the people who are around you matter. But why, for me, I feel that discussing these things is very important. One, the body is changing, but also emotionally, they're also dealing with too many things. Yeah. Now, me, I am not that mom who is going to allow to be fake. Think all you want, think I'm outdated, but at times I'm even very intentional to just Google some things and know, like, the slang of now, the abbreviatable things of now. So that's when you're like, no, mommy, this means dinner. I recently scandalized my daughter. I used, like, the worst abbreviation filler for a certain word just to see the expression on her face. This was no, mommy, no, I didn't mean that. And in my heart I was like, okay, thank God, I think it was not it, but okay. I was going through all these emotions, but I have learned that, especially emotionally, we've talked about mental health and how our children think. I think in the world now, it's even more important the state of mind your child is at. Are you raising a people pleaser? Because our parents never used to mind about those things, and they affected many of the things we did much later. So now it's even more important that you're teaching, for example, your daughter to shower on time, lay your bed, the things that we were trained, but also emotionally. Are you a people pleaser, or you're able to make your own decisions? Are you a bully, or you
what's your attachment style? You know, those things. What's your love language? Like all of those things.
And then struggling not to compare them, because yes, they will be different for us to have more than one child. It's just, you have to almost make conscious decisions to know, how am I helping this person through this time, because they are growing and you're raising like a complete human being, and you don't want to be those mothers. The Bible says that your children will be an arrow, in your hand, not to your heart. So conscious decisions, and this is the time. But I like what Papa said. I actually didn't know. I learned something today. I didn't know that we have the opportunity to correct what
it's our
we
second
missed.
Chance.
When they were younger. Now I'm...
You're seeing it.
I'm affirmed. It's happening. We'll correct something. We'll correct something.
Some things that hadn't gone right. I like what you said. I feel like because of their hormonal changes, their emotions are even heightened more, and so it can be quite difficult for them to navigate life. And for me, that's where I think having this conversation is extremely important. They are going from childhood into adulthood. But the way the body works, it's not even just physical body changes, but just the way the body, the surge of emotions, the surge of testosterone, the surge of estrogen, all of those emotions make them, and I don't know, sometimes I ask God, I'm like, but why? Like, why would you do this to a human being? That now they're there, in their small little world, they think they know it all.
Oh, yeah.
All of it. They know love, they know work, they know money, they know. And you can say, I'm saying they, but I should say we. Because in that time we thought our parents didn't get it. They didn't get it. Because for you now you feel, I don't know how you come from a child who's like, mommy, get me a phone.
So, mommy, my privacy.
Really?
Yeah.
Get out
of my
right? Like how does that transition happen? And what is it that's causing that? Those emotions, they always get me crazy. I always feel like sometimes God does certain things to get us. Like, it's like, you thought.
I will get you.
I'll give you 2 years and you will understand me. You'll understand when I say that your children will be taught of the Lord and great will be like this. Because that's the only scripture you
give them to me.
Teach them.
Go to the one day.
every
right?
mama has had that moment.
It is now beyond you. I feel like that's what their teenage lives does, and that's why it's important for us to have those conversations. Now that I've kind of shared what I think are the triggers for this turbulence in teenagers. What do you guys think are the things that cause our teenagers to just... What's the cause of... What is it?
So last night, I took time to think about teenagers and looked for the right analogy that could represent what a teenage life is. I'm a movie person, so I like watching movies, action movies. Now, teenagers are like that chemical bomb placed in a car, and when you sit, you're not supposed to move. Any slight movement, it's very unstable. The word is unstable. Any slight movement, it's pressure sensitive. Any slight heat change, it goes off. And those are teenagers. Now the reason is, you've hinted on it, and maybe I've hinted it on the analogy, is the chemical reaction that's going on inside. A child has just broken his voice. He's discovered he has a deep voice. He's husky. And and because he's husky, Tomugambaku, what are you saying? Daddy can raise his voice, so can I.
Wow.
You get it? The girls are exploding at a very unique rate. The hips are coming on, the butt is coming on.
The boobs are here.
The boobs are firmer than you, the mom.
Fire.
I just want to be very honest.
No, I just feel like stray bullets have
I
come
know.
out.
Anyway, I just want to be as honest.
Yes.
Anyway.
What has the mom got to do with it?
Anyway.
Yes. And the reason I'm saying that is, normally, the conflict happens with the same-sex parent. It's very rare you find a conflict between mom and son.
Yes.
It's always amicable, they have an understanding. But when it comes to you, as a lady, if it comes to you, the man, you and your son, it is the chemicals that are going on. Growing up, my guardian used to refer to a rhino and its relationship with its young one. When a young rhino is growing, constantly you don't see it walking behind the older one. It walks side by side. The purpose is to measure. Anytime now. And when you find a male rhino, it's always moving alone because of that purpose. So teenagers are that way.
Lord have mercy on them.
Right. Chemistry is going on within them that is forcing them to measure themselves against you, the authority, against anybody who's an authority, teachers, prefects, anybody who proves to be authority. They're going to measure themselves against what you're bringing to the table. And if they think they are better than you in expression, talking that munyum is anything. I know parents who are well-meaning, but because the kid is more expressive than you, I want you to understand our children have grown up in an empowered time.
Yes.
They're more expressive than us.
It's true.
If you don't up your game in expression as a parent, they got you. Number two, part of the reason it's turbulent is peer pressure. Like that bomb I told you, there's so many components going on. There's a pressure sensor that's going on. If it's messed with, the chemical moves and the thing goes boom. So because of that peer pressure that's constantly externally influencing them, and the peer pressure has evolved. Growing up, when they talk about peer pressure, you think about people of the same age group. Peer pressure is now some 14-year-old looking at Daniel, who's 21, or Manuela, who's 21. I'm not saying I'm 21, but Manuela
I'm okay.
But Manuela is okay. No, Manuela is 21.
She's 21. So you're looking at a 14-year-old looking at Manuela, and they're like, oh, I want to be like Manuela. So Manuela becomes a point of peer pressure.
So now we have all those on social media.
All of those are on social media, uncontrolled. Our homes have access to Wi-Fi 24 hours. So the moment the kid is at home,
they're on it.
I'm following Manuela, I want to be like Manuela. The other influence that is happening is we are no longer Uganda as Uganda.
No, the globalization
as the world. So for you think you are having it figured out, the rest of the world
left you.
He's showing you we are training your child, and the information is readily available. Yeah. Just to speak into what you said when your child came and said, "Thank you for being a good mommy." It means he has had information from people, and people attempt to water down information for children, thinking we're protecting them. Yeah. But they have so much information. So each time you lie in an attempt to protect,
they can see
you're losing trust. So they go like, "I can't trust." That's why I said you have spoken more truth than other people have talked to.
He has a scary
because for you are closer to what he knows, what he has access to.
So he can relate.
Yes. Now, many parents assume that, my child is innocent. Let me not have this conversation. I was going to senior one, and I remember my guardian called me, I think 2 weeks before, sat me outside in the corner, and said, "Now, Dan, a young man, you're going to school. I think every parent wants to tell the child they're handsome. You're very handsome." I said, let's go down that path. So, when you get to school, these big girls are going to look at you and be like, and the temptation will be there. Yeah. So you have to understand how this body of yours works. So we had an honest conversation. And I stayed celibate for quite some time.
Must have been really honest.
Yes, because it was quite clear. Yes, it was quite honest. Because I had the information. She wasn't telling me anything new. P7, you are taught these things. You understand the birds and the bees. Biology. You understand it. In fact, around P2, you already understand these things. But because she had that honest conversation, I could move into my teenage years, not swayed by sex, not swayed by drugs. I didn't go experimenting stuff because there was that honest conversation. Now, truthfulness along parenthood and the teenager is very important. You should not presume you're still dealing with a toddler.
Yeah. Wow.
Many of us want to keep them, my sweet little baby. Mothers, I know you love your son so much. You want to keep them.
So guilty right now.
You want to protect your daughter. Oh, my ballerina, because you remember her in a tutu.
Oh wow.
Going for rehearsals
and body socks.
And body socks. So you still have that image of her, but she has grown.
She's wearing your clothes even.
Let me share an experience that's interesting. Last week, a parent comes with, I think she was 9. And the girl had gone to talk to the father, told the father, "There's a boy I like."
9.
Told that dad.
Yes, I like this boy. So the father didn't know what to do, and he did the right thing. He came to mindness, and we had an opportunity to sit with the girl. And when we talked to the girl, we had to be honest and said, these feelings are normal. It's okay to feel butterflies at a given point. When the boy is good looking, it's understandable. When he's kind to you, it is understandable. However, these things change. You know?
It will go.
Yeah, it's not going to stay.
Butterflies will fly.
Believe me, a guy with a nicer bag, for us when we were in school, you had Oxford sets.
Not the other one, the red one. You needed to have the blue one.
You needed the Oxford that had that later things, you know? You were the one.
You were the guy.
If you had the Dino bag, you know? That was the one, you know? And these kids, I had to explain to the child that, you know, another boy is going to show up. But what you do matters. How you present yourself matters. An honest conversation. And this is a preteen. So that brings another conversation on table. When does teenage age begin?
Yeah, it's not
children. It's no longer 12. No, it's not 13.
It's not 13 anymore.
Oh my God!
It has shifted the benchmark.
Not. Because now the girls are having their periods as early as 9 years.
9 years.
As early as 8.
It's so scary.
8 years. So teenage has moved.
The goalposts have shifted. You can't play the match the way our parents played it.
Sometimes I just feel like God is like, you thought you knew. You had said
you thought you had figured it out.
Okay. Just a hat week.
We are constantly evolving, and our children are. Whether we are keeping up with it, the teenagers are evolving.
So as a parent, we must evolve as well.
You must
read,
you can't be static.
Talk to people, listen.
And you can't think you know it. You can't think you know it. Our parents, when we grew up, they knew it all. Because we were in a small bubble.
Yeah,
in the 90s. There was a small bubble. UTV was done.
Pingu.
And it will
Pingu.
yeah.
You know, even you'll find mature guys,
And Pingu was
17,
not
watching
talking, really.
Pingu laughing.
It's the only thing to watch.
When you're in the family group of our age bracket, the jokes we are throwing around are Tom and Jerry because this is what we watched. Didi, Dexter, these guys are talking about certain shows with real human beings, real teenagers,
and
going through all these things.
Yeah.
And that is what is shaping them.
Their narrative.
You know, I honestly can't wait for the time we can get into, the time we'll be discussing, you know, as we go further into this topic, into things like what are teenagers engaging with, gaming. They no longer need each other's phone numbers.
No.
They
don't. They just need their handles in a game.
In a game, and they'll be chatting.
And they'll be chatting. And you are there, you
Can have
think
an
the child
entire
is just
relationship.
there.
Computer.
Akola assignment. Wow.
Ngakumbe, they're having full-on conversations with each other.
Yeah, it reminds me of a young girl who was deceived, presumably by an internet fraudster, to leave school, go to Mienga. She stayed there for about 3 days.
Come on.
She was used, drugged.
Oh, gosh.
But because they have things we didn't have, their world is so open. For you think you stay in Naguru or Nigeria, your daughter is safe in a 4-perimetered wall, but the world finds them in their bedroom. In their bedroom.
That's so
Nudes are flying.
That's so scary.
Left, right, and center. You know, we take Uganda. Okay, I'm a Ugandan, so as Ugandans, we take things for granted, and we have abused social media in a way I don't think any other person has abused it.
How?
We post everything we feel should. If I feel I need to make a following on Twitter, I post something stupid. And we think we're doing it in honest faith. Yeah, I'm trying to be the first one to break the news. The nudes have leaked, you know? But that Twitter space has teenagers.
Oh, Lord.
What is that teenager going to say? Oh, if I have a guy I like, I should send photos of my bum bum.
Oh, man.
And that is going on. A child will leave school. There is one they brought who left school to go home because they were sick. Spent 2 days on the way. But they had organized a house party in an Airbnb.
Hey,
What is that?
Airbnb.
Yeah.
Because those days you have to be a parent who's not around.
To pay for the Airbnb.
You
What do you
parents?
mean? Your parents are financing
Children
it.
come to school with
Children
school
have
fees
credit
of
cards
1
now.
million.
Commitment of
Yeah.
500K.
Yes.
What
When a
are
canteen
you
where
saying?
chapati is 1,000, how are they going to finish that 1,500,000?
All those chapos.
There is a boy who is online trading,
Yes.
and he's, I think, 14. He didn't want to continue in school.
He's making
Because he's making the money.
He can
making
make
money.
8 million in 1 day. The parent doesn't know.
Why is he studying?
Yeah.
What's the point of school?
And the reason they called was, this kid we were going to the village, he disappeared. Please find out what happened. Tracy to the kid said, they wanted to take me to the village where there's no internet and I can't trade. So I ran away from home early morning. They went, when I came back, the home was closed. I went online, traded, made 8 million, called my friends, parted for the whole week. And funny enough, parents are not paying attention. In fact, when I heard it, I said, and you a parent, you entered your car and you drove
Up to the village.
Stayed there a week.
No,
We
it's
used
because
to think-
because we feel like we're punishing them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Hey,
Let's
we'll
leave
leave you.
Yeah.
A scenario like that has ever happened to me. We used to love going to church. So me and my brother go to church. Then our little brother would keep coming. Then he goes, our dad had said we'll be leaving at 5. The car that is taking us to the village is taking us at 5. So we got our church, Lift Up Jesus Church, then in Kabale, and then we are praising Jam, Jesus and me, what a red, like we were having at the time of our lives. Dancing. And then we thought our brother little brother would keep checking and let us know. When he went to check, my dad was like, oh yeah, child of mine, we go. Now, our luggage was at my auntie's home, and then he left very clear instructions. When they come, make sure they don't sleep here. So we come back, why? Daddy, they had left us. Now, there are no means of transport, like after a certain time when you're going to my village those days, yeah? And then you're young. I mean, you don't even have friends to say, take me. So in our era, it worked. So, and indeed, my auntie said, people, I'm not joking. Your dad said, you don't sleep here. So we have a joke that they keep saying in our family where we literally walk. The road is called Omuruchiri. So Omuruchiri is, you're literally walking, it's a steep, yeah? Now there's a place they call Mutagamba. We used to laugh. Why do they call this place Mutagamba? That day, we found out why it's called Mutagamba. You cannot talk. People, you need to climb. So me and my brother on that car.
On Mutagamba.
We were tired, so Richard would push me. Then when he gets tired, he walks. Then when I push him, we look like, I think, Teletubbies on that hill. So we only got somebody to take us, like a car. That a car passed us, and it was like a van going to pick kids, I think, in the village. So they take us, but we were already past the hill. We had started sloping. People, when you're tired and you're sloping, you're dizzy. I thought I was going to die or fall or faint. But now, we were looking for our dad. Even with such a punishment, nobody went in other deals. Nobody went to look for who, because maybe they were not, those facilities were not even there. Any woman, who do you know? Yeah. So our minds were focused, go look for your dad, let's go home. So yeah, but now in the joke is we found our dad waiting, like at the end of that slope. He was actually waiting there with his walking stick, with my little brother, and they were just thinking, hey, if it clocks 7, I think we go look for my children, you know. So he was also worried, but now that worked then. But I'm imagining if I punished my child now like that, will find me.
They can get an Airbnb online.
And they're quite cheap, so.
I mean, when you think about, if we remember what we were like as teenagers, and how angry we would get, you know, like how maybe you didn't act it out, but the anger, So if you remember that anger, and now you apply it to this one with all the ways they can.
Access and what? Anyway, finish the story.
So yeah, you and have to understand that the world has evolved around us. The teenagers we were are not the ones that we have. These are 2.0. They're improved versions. You know?
Elevated.
They are elevated. They are 5G.
Yeah, it's true.
You know? They connect anywhere with anyone.
Totally different version.
Get your teenager, go in a strange place that has other, drop him there.
With internet.
Tajja kumanya. In a little while, they want to connect.
Like 10 handles, he knows already. But there's online.
Let me give you another scenario. I was looking after a teenager a while back. I'd adopted her, so we're staying together. So she does her P7. It was during COVID. So she asks, I would like to take a walk. Early morning. We're like, yeah, COVID, lockdown. Let the kid take a walk, really. So she gets out of the house, walks from here. I'm going to use an example of a distance. From here where we are, up to like Cedar Square.
That's a long. We're in Bugolobi.
Yes. Up to like Cedar Square.
But that's Kawa.
That's Kawa.
Bugolobi to Cedar Square.
Yeah, for a teenager.
Okay, yeah, for you.
Okay, for you it's okay.
Really, we celebrate you. Yeah, it's fine.
Even me, I'm okay with that. But what she does next is what gets me. So at 1 p.m., I wasn't around, so my wife calls and says, this girl has not yet come back.
From 8?
She went at 8. I said, don't look for her. Let's watch and see what happens. At 1 p.m., she receives a phone call. Hello? Is this and so and so? And she's like, yeah. Can so and so stay here for lunch and come in the evening? So as the way I told my wife, you send me the number of who called me. So I picked the call. I said, hello? Can you give me that young girl you're asking for permission? I asked, are you okay in your head?
Exactly.
Did that person ask for permission for you to take a walk? Number 2, a walk cannot be those level of kilometers. Now, I've given you 10 minutes. I'm heading home. If I find you not there, we are going to sort ourselves.
They will not come back by then.
Yeah,
this generation, they won't
I don't like, if I don't find you there,
I can't make it
they're
in
smart.
10, it's fine.
This generation is a bit resourceful. So I wanted to find out how she's going to do it.
Yeah.
Because they'll figure out how to get a bike.
Yeah.
They'll figure out how to get a 5K to bring them. So when she showed up, I said, so how did you come at a bike? Who paid for it? Their person. I said, did that person's parents know you were coming? No. Are they there? No. So what if something happened to you in that home?
There we go, guys.
And regard, what will I answer?
That I've done beyond that level.
You know? And yeah, I disciplined her the way I know how to. I'll not state it here for obvious reasons.
No, one day we'll have
okay.
Yeah, but I did the biblical way. Yeah,
On
I did
punishment.
punish her the biblical way.
No, we're going to have that show.
Yeah.
So we're going in deep.
The second pair of ears. You know the Bible in
Yes.
Proverbs tells us children have 2 pairs of
Yeah.
ears. These ones and the
the
other
other
ones.
So she listened to me better. Though after that, she said, I don't want to stay here anymore. I said, it's okay. It's okay.
The speed governance here
Yeah.
now, I don't
She noticed. I said, it's okay if you don't want to go.
Yeah.
It's okay. I've done my best.
Yeah.
Kumazeko P7. Katugomulala kwate chilala.
Yes.
On to the next like
Yeah.
release.
But you see how supervision, guys, is very important. Yeah. And then you can't only rely on your own supervision, but also the supervision of the parents of the children your child is accessing.
Yeah.
Like involvement of Jesus Christ.
Now I realize why my mom would always ask, who are your friends? Who are their parents? What are their parents' names?
What do
think
they
what
do?
do they-
What do they do?
Yeah.
It can sound snobbish, but information is very
But
important.
it also explains why immediately you'd say, Mommy, this one's my friend. They would say, oh, you're of who are you? Who's
Who's are you?
Whose are you? Sorry.
you?
Yes. Or
Whose are
your whose are you?
Yes.
So you name your father, you name your mother. What? Then they're like,
Ni mutura
I don't know that
They ask
person.
me mutura if you're from far, they'd say, we jota hani.
Yeah.
Your
How
parents
did you
know.
reach here?
Kwa tom hando tahe uchirikare.
Yes. Speaking of Airbnbs, 2 of my nieces were telling me a story of how boys are taking girls to hotels and Airbnbs, teenagers. So I was just saying, where are they getting the money from? Auntie Barbara, their parents. Okay. Because when you go to school and you give your child 50K, you feel you've given them a lot of money. Because you're like, they'll not finish this money. Thank you. Then I'm like, okay, and where are their parents when they're taking girls? And where are these girls' parents when they are being taken to hotels? They looked at me and said, Auntie Barbara.
And where are the hotel managers?
Their parents said, they're not at home. Auntie Barbara, people's parents are busy. They travel, they what. So the kids are home alone. And they can do what they want.
You need help.
That conversation with my nieces, I was holding the chair like this the whole time. We started talking drugs, and I'm there, I'm saying, no,
there's something
but
ABCD.
marijuana, and which it smells. They said, Auntie Barbara. We
There's a
moved
pen that
past
doesn't
that one.
smell,
There's
yeah.
vaping, there's
Yeah,
what?
vaping,
There's
that's what I was
cookies,
looking for.
There's
There's
bread,
chugging.
there's syrup.
have you heard of
there's-
chugging?
Yes.
It has very many versions that I
There's
don't even
gummies.
want to think
There's
about.
gummies.
There's gummies, there's cookies.
When they said drugs, I was
everything.
thinking of weed.
Puffy.
Wow.
They said, yeah, Auntie Barbara.
Yeah.
For you needed real
Like
schooling.
I was like this on the chair. I was like, what?
Yeah. No, don't
There's a
worry.
thing that-
We are
there's a
going
thing
coming
in. We are
there.
coming there.
that
Yeah.
Daniel has talked about. He said parents don't pay attention anymore. Because of the era in which our children are, we are actually using it to our advantage. This child is disturbing me. Here is a
What
tab.
is it?
Here's a
Wi-Fi.
credit card. Here's money. Get your friends. Be busy. There's a story. I used to work in some place. I'm really not going to say because now it really drills down to the person. But the person was talking to us and saying that there's a mom who took a child to the hospital and it was just a normal check. My daughter is acting some way. So he checks and because of what he was seeing, he tells the person at the lab, just help me do an HCG test. So it's positive. Now he tells the mom, let me first talk to the daughter because she's the patient as if, you know. So he tells her, Madam, you're pregnant. What happened? What are we going to do? He's like, you need to tell me what's going on because your mother is out there and you have to figure out what we're going to do with that situation. And so the child is like, well, how far along? And he's like, no, I need to know what happened. How did you get here? So the girl is these children who are kept in the home, like he said. Every time there's internet, there's I don't know what, there's all these things. So the girl says, no, occasionally, when we're watching TV with my brother, like, yeah, we started liking each other. So we were together, and she was sleeping with her brother. But you see, when the doctor asked her when this happened, they had sex 2 weeks ago, but the pregnancy is 4 weeks. So he's like, no, this is not adding up. There's something you're not telling me. What's going on? And the child is like, well, mommy and daddy had a party where their friends came over. And our friends their children also came over. So like I slept with like maybe 3 guys. We're just playing. So now she can't even tell whether the child is for the brother or the friend because there were like 3. Yes. Do you click what I'm saying? So please note that this child was home. Yes. She didn't leave. Yes. Everything is happening home because we've equipped them. They're upstairs at and we reach. They're upstairs. We take the drinks. Go with your friends upstairs because you're catching up with your friends. You don't know what they're doing upstairs. It could be porn. They did everything meanwhile. They didn't even see the kids taking the alcohol up.
Oh God.
The kids were doing shots. The kids were watching, I don't know what. They're vaping. That's the thing I was looking for. They're vaping.
So
I don't know what. And usually I'm told with heights come home. So they're having sex. It's like an orgy. I mean.
Under your roof.
Yeah, under your roof.
You're
there.
there.
Yeah, you're there because you're just shouting. Olivia, do you guys have drinks? Yes, ma'am. Then they come and carry soda, which they're going to mix with the whiskey. You've not even noticed how many.
Soda.
Because you got caterers, there's a cocktail bar, you think it's for the adults. We got the sodas for the children. So for me, when you're saying Airbnb, I'm like, no, dear. It is here.
Under your roof.
Yeah. And you see now, they had to deal with telling the mom, but now they had to, she even deleted part of the story because she's also now not sure whose child it is. So she's like, no, we were with the Baho. So she mentioned all of them. So, yeah, we are pregnant.
There's disease also that could be passing around.
Yeah.
Remember,
so all those things. Meanwhile, you think for your friends, it's automatic that your kids have to be friends. Kumbe, this one's child has been eyeing your child. They're like, those hips and what gotta be put to use.
They're not eyeing them like
brother because for you, your child has access to porn and whatnot. For them, they need an experiment. It's time for practicals. Yeah. And your child who you're hovering over like this, who has no clue what's going on, is going to be
initiated.
Yeah, that thing where they say that if you're not talking to your child, someone else is.
Someone else will.
That was the thing.
I mean, to be honest, there's a young lady I met this week who was sharing with me that that's how she got initiated into witchcraft.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just going to a friend's place, no more visiting.
Sleepover.
Not it wasn't.
It doesn't even have to
sleepover.
be a sleepover.
You no longer have to go. No, you don't have to. And she says, I don't know. They were actually no. She didn't say friends, neighbor. No one at home. Where you are home. Where you're like, go and play there.
You're like,
outside.
where is
Next to you,
Olivia? At the neighbors. You're like, oh, she's okay.
She's nearby.
That was it. That was it. That's when she was initiated into witchcraft.
The witchcraft is what gets worse because you see, you're thinking, sex, you can talk about all these things, disease, take your child. Yeah. But witchcraft is a whole
It was witchcraft and sorcery.
Yes.
And she had to go through it. It was madness. And her parents didn't know that they had a witch in the house. After a while, they didn't know they had a witch doctor. But now let's talk mental health. Because most times you talk mental health and you talk mental health for adults. Mental health for mothers, mental health for women, mental health for men. But now it's becoming increasingly useful for us to think about mental health for teenagers, not even children, teenagers. How critical is mental wellness for teenagers these days?
I think we usually compare it to like adults and, us mothers. We've talked about that more often, that how our mental health and our calmness sets like a mood for the home. But I think even teenagers, because they're going through so many emotions, it's good to be intentional about where their mental health is at. How our very good psychologist just said they're like a time bomb, They're very sensitive to things and things like that. So I think to be aware of where their mind is at, because it controls so much of how they react. But if we are creating that environment to keep checking their mental health, then that means also our actions contribute on how well they are also doing.
Sometimes our actions are the
trigger
ones
them,
that kill their mental wellness.
Exactly. Isn't that why the scriptures tell us fathers don't
annoy your children?
Exactly.
Yeah. So now, for me, what I have seen that occurs a lot, he was telling us a story and said how the girl confided in the dad that she liked somebody, and he went to the psychologist. So when you were saying, I was thinking, where is the mother? Why couldn't he call the mom? Then I was like, I think Sharon, tademo feelings nyingi. But already that shows they can't trust mommy with that information. She has already made it clear that it is...
go to the school.
Yeah. So I met somebody. I told you earlier that I'm facilitating and more. So I met this brilliant boy. He's a facilitator, youth. And he told me to read a book, how to talk to teens and they listen. Oh. So I am reading it. I've just started. But as I was starting, there were like small comics in the book. I think clearly it's a book for teenagers and try to communicate to teenage parents. So they were saying that our number one mistake we do as parents is we dismiss feelings, and it's common with mothers. You know, so there was a cartoon. I'm just going to read like one line, yeah? So they say, oh, you are not wearing that shirt, that torn shirt to the restaurant. This is the mother talking to the boy, and then the boy goes like, why not? It's just a little rip. As in, that's what he's thinking. Then the mother goes, it looks like a rug. If you don't change into something decent, you can just stay home. He's like, fine, I'll stay home. Then they say, the other scenario of identify the thoughts and feelings is, Chris, we are going to a restaurant where people dress up a little. Then the son responds, so? Then the mother says, so you can wear any shirt that isn't torn, or maybe put a jacket over the torn one you are wearing right now. I'm not changing. Where is my jacket? Then the mother gets the jacket, he puts it on, and they go. There were options. So the boy was able to make a decision. Let me put a jacket because I don't want to change my shirt. This shirt is nice. And the moment I read that, I was thinking, how this would have played out. The mother me. I'm thinking, I know how you should look. You don't know. I'm the one who knows. That's what we are wearing. Yeah, and we're told. Change it. Yeah, you don't. You even worried last Sunday. So what do you mean? Do I have to explain to you? I've caught myself saying things like that. Do I have to explain to you every time I say something? Please go get.
Because mommy said so.
So this book is teaching me and I'm still like at the first few chapters, but it's teaching me that we need to train, especially teenagers, to make good decisions. And the truth is, as we teach them to make good decisions, we're going to have to allow them to make certain wrong ones, as long as they're under your cover. Now that brings me, we're talking about this whole partying and how things can go amiss because we are not supervising. My parents were party people. My dad owned a bar.
Come on.
Yeah. So we were partying for us.
Oh, wow.
Partying was normal. It was part of life. That's what took me to school. Yeah, they owned a bar. It was doing well. So partying was, it was like innate. Yeah. So that means it was breeding also a bit of what we would call now an unhealthy environment. I started cooking Irish and greens, say at my dad's, pork pub, the Jacobos, that was what the bar was called. So, and it was like the thing. So even at school, some people didn't know my second name. They used to call me Sharon Jacobo because your dad's name.
It was such a popular bar.
Yeah, it was a popular bar. I remember the first time Guinness, I think, was coming into this country, it was launched at that cab, the Jacobo.
You were the ones.
Then people repeat. Now I don't know what's happening to Kampala. There are other versions of things. But anyway, not to lose what I was communicating. Our parents, my dad and mom, we used to hang out every Sunday. They drop you at church. Sometimes they pray with you. Sometimes they don't. We used to pray at St. Luke in Tinder. But as a must, every Sunday we used to be in church. They go, maybe they are restocking for the bar, they come pick you, or they are with you, something like that. But every afternoon before the end of we would hang out. Nile Hotel, Nectarine, all the good hotels I think we went to. But this was the rule of thumb. There would be a table with my dad and his buddies, other families, they join in. Then there is a table for children. The children are with the maids, with any other people. Any other adults, any other maid, but children. And I repeat, the table used to be close to them. So even with the adults and the maids that are with you and it is still near them. Now, they would still scandalize us, one, with their conversations, because we would hear them. They would make certain expressions. Maybe somebody has touched their wife's waist, and we were their children, we would see all those things. You're scandalized, but I think there is something different and protecting by you being scandalized by your parents.
Other than
letting your child get it from elsewhere. Yeah. There was there was a certain guy that used to come with a guitar that would play for them a song, and he would be singing. So of course you're thinking you don't know the language, and maybe then I actually didn't know what it meant, but I crammed the song because you're hearing it so many times. Now when we sing it these days, we laugh. We're like, but then it didn't make sense. But they would enjoy themselves in our presence. So we learned how to treat people. You learned how to be around old people, but you still know your place. This is the grown-up table. That's your table as children. And anything you do, I am in there. Then there's some people who are coming to greet. I was an only girl, so when their friends come, they are greeting you. Oh, come and I hug you. There's a time one of our family friends from Chigali. So he comes, when he's greeting me, he pecks me. Now, ordinarily, you're supposed to peck on the cheek. He pecks my lip. My dad and mom are there. So this is me. So, of course, I'm in shock. Then I look at my dad and mom because I was waiting for them to protect me.
Because they were there.
So because they were there, I just looked at them, and then my dad held my hand and lifted me off his laps and stood here. Then my mom was like, hey, she also took me away. When we went there outside, all I had to do was just stand at the back and I was seeing my dad. His expressions were enough for me to know, oh, did he just show him? But he did not do it in my presence. But still, I knew I had been covered. I had been protected. So what if that happened in their absence? So me, guys, any day, I am for supervision.
Absolutely.
Be as much as we can. I think we really need to be present. Extremely present.
I love that.
Speaking of mental health, two of the complaints I've had, I have quite a number of teenage friends. My friends' kids who are teenagers, usually they'll come to me, Auntie Barbara, we have a problem. I want to change schools. I want this. But
you're a nice auntie.
By the way, the auntie who listens, I like, okay, maybe that makes it nice. But also the auntie who can speak to them and say, okay, let's hang in there just a bit. You have one term to go. We'll be fine. But two of the biggest complaints I've had, my parents don't trust me. My parents don't listen. And jokingly, sometimes I ask Nai, hey, what have you done to show that you can be trusted? The other day, they gave you permission to be out up to 2. You came at 6. You know, So how do we listen to our children? Is listening keeping quiet, or is listening not trivializing their feelings? Or what is listening to a teenager? Listening to Manuela is different from listening to a teenager. How do I show my teenagers that I trust them, so that they're in that position of, my mom trusts me not to misbehave. I shall not misbehave.
For you to be trusted, you have thrown it back at them. That's what that we are seeing in that book. That we need to allow them make decisions, as opposed to a mother saying, for you, the last time I told you, we are always, I think, quarreling. And I say we because guilty.
I'm going to attempt to respond to some of the things that have been said. One, it's important for us as parents to know you are not your teenager's friend. You are their parent.
But we want to be friends.
You can't be their friend.
Them.
A teenager does not need a friend.
Yes.
A teenager needs a parent.
Yes.
When they are grown and they are 21, starting to make life-altering decisions like marriage, all those things, be their friend, because they'll need your support. That's when life gets tough.
Yes.
But here, they need a parent. You need to know where to draw the line. And part of the biggest problem within the therapy rooms, we find parents who have attempted to be friends to teenagers. Some of the things that happen, oh, I trust my children, you got... Like I said before, these teenagers can't be trusted.
Standard.
It's a standard. Even the one you think has a good head on their shoulder is being driven by chemistry.
At this point,
don't trust them. They'll even manage you
Properly.
They say what you want to hear.
They'll say what you want to
hear.
hear.
You are a whole KPI.
Hey, she likes seeing me like this, so that day let me organize my room, blah, 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 blah. So she rewards me and I go out and do this. You can't trust them. That's very clear.
Yeah.
Not that they're bad. And please, you who have good children, don't have said your children are bad. They are good. But as a parent, don't cross the line. Yeah. Then I'm going to use the whiteboard to draw something to explain the danger of mental health. Teenagers, children generally, have a tendency to gravitate around us. Okay? Let me take you to class a bit.
Take us, please.
So I'm borrowing this from Uribra from Bena, and in the middle
is the teenager.
Mm-hmm. And the teenager is kept safe and solid by mom, dad, siblings,
grandparents,
grandparents, relatives, basically. The immediate family.
Yeah.
The next group of people are
friends.
Pastors,
Oh, come on.
friends, teacher,
Okay, other relationships, yes.
other close relationships.
Where is
Your
maid?
family doctor, the
we-
maid,
They're at home with the kids.
They're
every
the
there.
house
day.
managers. I don't like calling them maids.
Okay, house
They fall
manager.
under there.
Yeah.
Then out in this circle is
Internet.
the MPs, your LC1.
Oh,
Aren't you understand that the child does not exist in a vacuum?
In a bubble.
yeah, in a bubble.
They're not just there,
Yeah.
floating around. All these things have to be in place. The president, then the rest of the world is out here. It's also a circle of its own. And I like using this to illustrate why we need to make sure that ecosystem
Is there.
is secure.
Okay.
If the first string is not there, the child falls through. So the next person who's going to influence them is the pastor if
house
they're
manager.
if they're in
In a church,
in
a
a church,
community.
the community where the witch doctor has introduced the child into
Massive.
sorcery falls under that. So if your first, which is the first line of defense for any teenager, is not solid.
Also, it's the first line of
Yes.
First line of defense. I like to
Now.
It's nice that you said that.
Putting us to look at that first line of defense, I am trying to say a teenager cannot be raised by one person, by a parent. It takes an entire village to raise this teenager.
So our parents' preachings
That makes
were
so much
valid.
sense.
They were very
They were
valid.
solid.
That's why we turned out this good.
Yeah.
We may be a little bit damaged, which happens.
Yeah.
But we turned out this good.
Yes.
We were able to make these choices. It's painful,
Yes.
but we actually turned out this good.
Yes.
It's a proved method. In an attempt to try to compensate for that, we have let children fall through and they're being influenced by everybody else other than us. We want to be their friends. We want to fall in the third ring.
So the first line of command has
It's
already
not
Has already
there.
fallen.
Yeah.
even
we-
when you're present.
Even when you're
Are
present,
you
you're
though?
like, you go and hang out with your friends.
Are
The
you
one's going to
present?
influence you. Go
Mommy,
upstairs.
we want to go to Acacia Mall to hang out with your male friends.
For us, you will not say that.
Sleepover.
Do what?
In fact, your parent will be the one to queer for you. And that
Eh.
in the 90s, we didn't have the Acacia malls.
No.
You know that
Pioneer
open
Gaba
space
Beach.
Pioneer Mall.
near
Yes.
Acacia?
Yes.
That park that used to be there? That's where we used to hang
Even their
out.
sleepovers
Which
to
one
look
was
bit
that?
to a boring home.
Where Java's is, there's a park down, like an open space.
Yeah.
A garden.
So you can't parent a teenager by yourself. Everybody within your immediate circle must be contributing toward that mental health.
Yeah.
You can't. We are living in a life where we are being told every man for himself. God for us all.
Good for us all.
We grew up every weekend, for those who grew up in solid homes anyway, every weekend you had to be at a relative's home. There was an event or anything. So now we
So
want to raise our
tiring.
children in isolation.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Someone was explaining that as mothers, our children are here like this on,
Yes.
on our
It's a
dresses.
handbag.
On our aprons. You have to cut them later on in life. But for now,
Yes.
it must be a consented effort. For us, when we were growing up, you would be found walking. You didn't even know who reported you.
They
But
can't
you
even
get
take
home,
you back
FBI had the report.
properly.
They can even separate you from there. To make sure
The person who has found you
hey,
can
we
punish
don't,
you.
and they'll do it in so much good faith.
Yeah.
You'd be pissed, but tomorrow you meet them, and you're like, yeah,
Uncle so and
Uncle
so.
so and so, you're cool. But he was helping you.
Just
Now.
never cool. So
It was really not.
It was never cool, but later on you'd forget about it.
Yeah.
You'd know, yeah, I was in wrong. Right now, man, at home will get a call.
Now we
My
don't
teenager.
even want people to comment about our children when they've done wrong things.
They're not wrong.
Let me
Talk
share
about my child like
a
that.
very unique story. The other thing we suffer from, and I've found it common in Christian parents like myself, we want to hide our heads in the sand about the realities of our children. So the other day I visited a friend, and he was in Namugongo, and I found him complaining. He tells me, I have found in the search history of my smart TV, I have found pornography. And I think it's the maids.
Oh,
Really?
So I say, okay, can we have lunch? And as we have lunch, I will study the room. I'll tell you. So I have lunch and I study these maids. After lunch, I tell them, I don't think they're your maids. Say, but you have a teenage son. So he says, no, not my son. I've built altar to serve her. It can't be him.
to see that.
I tell him, listen, we need to have this conversation
Bullets
with your teenage son.
everywhere.
He says, no, I know him. They are my friends.
Yeah.
I say, my friend, you're in trouble. A month into the term, they call him. Come and pick your son. He has been found in the dormitory with a group of other 4 kids. No, with their phones, watching pornography at night. And part of that pornography was not normal pornography, so to say.
LGBT.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Because those websites flow together. They
You have
say, oh, this is
options.
my preference. They want to pump this thing in their faces.
Yeah.
And when he talked to me, I told him, my friend, I talked to his wife. I said, my friend, I think you guys are hiding your heads in the sand. I asked him, you need to talk. Unfortunately, I don't think they did. They just changed the school.
The school doesn't like my son.
Now, brings me
growing.
to the foundation of mental health in children. Children are not like us that they process these emotions the way we do. They are not logical about it. So they have chased the child to school. From school, they're going to say, it's my fault. They want to blame themselves and enter depression. But yet, from where I sit, we are the parents are the ones to blame. From where I sit. Not that the children are not responsible for their actions. But their children, they're supposed to be monitored full time.
And supervised.
For that teen, I think let's introduce a certain other line of defense, like inside, because now, like there's even there's another one, like before there's some other,
the small
there should be another one, because I mean, how do you find the balance between they are all being raised by all of these ones, but then also the first line of defense is the first one. And then that same first line of defense is the one that is attacking. It's like the system is attacking itself. Because if you think about this now, it's flipped.
Yeah.
It's completely flipped.
Yeah.
The first line of defense is the internet for the children. Like it's going back. By the time it reaches the mother,
So much has happened.
so much has happened.
Yeah.
So much.
Let over uncle and auntie and grandmother.
Yeah.
As we come to the end of this show, what do you think has been some of the biggest misconceptions about teenagehood that you found?
They're rebels.
Yeah.
They're just being rebellious.
Yeah. But it's hormones.
It's hormones.
It's hormones. It's
Chemicals.
chemistry. It's
Yes.
chemicals.
Yes.
They don't even know what's going on.
No.
The devil.
Prayerful mothers.
Kumbe, it's chemicals, but I also feel that there's that stage as children. There are certain practices that you see in this world, and you shouldn't just leave them to go. When you see the practice, say for example, of imbalu, or the different practices that initiate a child into adulthood, you best be aware that there is an initiation that is going to happen. And many of us as parents, you see things like blood or menstruation of your child, your daughter, and you leave it. But that is an initiation into adulthood. And that's not a time you take simply. It's not a time that you take lightly. It's not a time that you take like, in the science, did they teach you in school? No. This is a time for me, in my opinion, for many parents, for you to now real surrender that child to God. Because you better be the initiator. I like when you said they came and your parents had a conversation with you. You better be the one that is initiating your child into adulthood. Because if you don't initiate them, they're still going to be initiated. Yeah. Okay, so what are some of the misconceptions? Sorry, it just came on me and I felt, I should share.
One is they are empty, so we should try to mold them.
It's too late though. It's too late,
They are not as empty as we think. They are very opinionated. The common thing you find when they say they are rebellious, it's called ODD, Opposition Defiance Disorder. It just shows up at that age where they don't listen to anyone. At that age, they question everything, including faith. Let me show you how serious it is. That even you are claiming you believe in Jesus as a parent, we'll put them at crossroads and say, but I see you doing some things that are not Jesus related. You know? I don't think we should be talking about our faith together. So they'll go and explore Islam. You'll find your child fascinated about Islam, fascinated about meditation and
science,
astral projection. You know, astral projection. They say, I'm fascinated about this. You know, and they tell you, I don't talk about this Jesus thing. A unique story was about 3 months ago. Certain religious family brought their child who had refused to do confirmation.
He refused to do what?
Confirmation.
When did children start having choices?
And I won't no, it's actually very good.
It's a good thing.
Yes, let the child be involved in that discussion of faith. Don't impose faith on a child.
Yes.
The Bible says, teach them, have a conversation every day when you sit down. But so that they live your life in such a way that they actually want what you have. The Bible says, Timothy writes and says that the faith you have, Paul writes to Timothy and says, the faith you have is one that I've seen in Eunice,
in your mother and your grandmother and mother.
They have to get to a place where you are imparting these things from close proximity. They look at you and they're like, I want this. So this particular kid says no. When they bring him and have a conversation, he says, on Sunday, dad is a head of Christians, mom is the head of ushers in this particular church. But on Wednesdays, we are shaking.
No.
It's us. Because it's our culture. And I'm taking you back to that. The third ring has the rest of everybody else. Their culture demands that you have a small altar. So the child is trying to reconcile these things.
It's like, I don't want this.
They're not just spectators. We think they're just gliding through. We like saying, when they make an error, they're learning through experience. They are learning through everything. They don't even have to experience it. They're looking at you.
What's your experience?
They're like, oh, okay, I can be rude. Oh, I can touch. Fathers go out with their kids and they are talking flatly to, say, boy realizes,
it's kawa
to get a number of girls. And
Mommy is at home, but I can flirt with other women.
It's okay to balance these people. It's harmless. You know? They look at us from that perspective. So everything you're doing, you think the 4-year-old is then imitating you. That's why I took away the formative years from that group to this group. This group is shaping how it's going to interact with the world by looking at us closely. Very, very closely. If we don't fix that, if we are not appreciative of the fact that they are not empty, they are just taking shape with everything they see.
I think it's just like a continuous quest to be aware that this environment is changing. Our children are changing, but also really watching and critically watching. My son is doing checkpoints soon, so he asked me, he's revising a lot. So he asked me yesterday, and I didn't know. Like, it was like the most odd time to have a conversation with a child. Like, it's rush hour, you're going to school. So I'm packing his, bread and things like that for his container. Then he goes like, hey, mommy, we're talking about this whole dinosaur thing, and you're trying to say in science how the dinosaurs were the first ones. And then the story of creation. So I've been just questioning this whole thing, like the whole God thing. It's just not making sense. And immediately he started speaking. I was like, Holy Spirit, help me. And then I tell him, but you see, at the end of the day, even when science is describing, there was a time when this world was void. And it is only God who said, now let there be. Sorry. So I think it's just this evolving world, and it allowed me to just bring clarity for him. And I said, at the end of the day, whether the dinosaurs were there was somebody who created all they are talking about. And the moment I said it, I didn't even say much. He was like, oh, mommy, thank you very much.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So I was getting confused. Okay, mommy, thank you. He picks his stuff and goes. And I was thinking, I don't pack his container every morning.
Yeah, but
How lucky was I that today I packed it?
Wow.
And he has asked that question. So may God help us, but being aware of that environment, I think will help us maybe supervise better and be a little more involved.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. What a conversation. I think for me what this is teaching me more than anything else, again, is the importance for us to surrender. To surrender, even just the way what we've heard about parenting and what we know about parenting. I like what you said earlier and said that by the time teenagers love the Sunday school teacher or the MP or the doctor and they want to be like them, I pray that we may be the figure, the human figure, the representation in our home, the ones that our children admire. And I pray that we are able to change and work on ourselves first, so that we might be able to impact our children. And may God give us the wisdom, may He give us the strength, may He give us the knowledge of exactly how to do this. But I think for me, my turning point has just been the thought that even these kids don't know what they're doing. Even we didn't know what we were doing.
We still don't know.
We still don't know. But we continue the conversation on Teens and Tensions next week. Let your friends know about this series, Teens and Tensions, where we'll be discussing everything teenagers. Until next week, we can't wait to see you. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let all your people and friends know if they have a teenager in the house, this is a conversation. Until next week, see you. Bye-bye.